I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Greetings. I would like to call the January 16th, 2025 special town meeting to order. As a reminder, please hold your card up when voting. If you have a question, please address the moderator and begin by introducing yourself. The first article is to choose a moderator to preside over said meeting. Do I hear a nomination for moderator?
So moved.
I nominate David Hennessy.
And do I hear a second?
Second.
Okay. And do I have a motion that the nomination cease?
So moved.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Motions have been made and seconded that nominee cease. I now need to have 3 written ballots cast for the nominated moderator.
You guys have chosen one. I don't see any more signs going on the website. The leads are white. I'll be back in half an hour.
All right, David Hennessy. I declare voting closed, and we do have 3 votes for David Hennessy. I ask that our moderator, David Hennessy, come forward to be sworn in. Right hand. Repeat after me. I, David Hennessy,
I, David Hennessy,
do swear and affirm
do swear and affirm
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and this state,
and this state,
so long as I shall continue
so long as I shall continue
a citizen thereof.
a citizen thereof.
I, David Hennessy,
I, David Hennessy,
do swear and affirm
do swear and affirm
that I will faithfully discharge,
that I will faithfully discharge,
to the best of my abilities,
to the best of my abilities,
the duties incumbent on me
the duties incumbent on me
as moderator for January 16th, 2025,
as moderator for January 16, 2025,
special town meeting
special town meeting
according to the Constitution
according to the Constitution
and the law of the state of Maine.
and the law of the state of Maine.
Thank you. Sign here.
This is official copy. So you can see. Okay, let's go on this. Article 2. Shall the school board of directors be authorized to negotiate and enter into tuition contracts for grades 6 through 12 with nearby school administrative units for a term of 2 to 10 years and on such terms and conditions as the school board of directors may negotiate in the best interest of the town and students. The Board of Selectmen recommends yes. Is there a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second?
Second.
There's a motion, second. Any discussion? I would ask that the member of the school give us an outline of what this article is for and what the process going forward would look like.
We didn't ask permission, we're not residents.
I make a motion that we allow Emily Thompson, a non-resident, to speak.
Is there a second?
Second.
Discussion? All those in favor? You may certainly speak.
So your question was what the process looks like?
In going forward, how it's going to play out.
Okay. So what happens is, assuming the town votes to authorize the school board to negotiate contracts, then the school board provides me with that authorization to be able to connect with our area, our neighbors, to be able to determine tuition agreements moving forward. the withdrawal agreement comes to an end June 30th, and it becomes null and void because all the separation pieces have all happened. But what happens at the end of this agreement then is there's no contract for our 6 through 12 students to have school guarantee or school choice or options for them for us to know and plan for what their programming is. So we need to be able to negotiate contracts with at least one district, or we can do with several, to be able to make a plan for our students. In the absence of a plan, then we would have to determine individual placements for every one of our students. So this allows us to know what the plan is, to be able to budget accordingly, have our residents know that they have stability in their education. So once I have that authorization and we negotiate contracts, then I bring the contracts back to my board, and the school board has to approve that contract. And any school system that we set up contracts with, their boards also have to approve that contract. And the duration can be 2 to 10 years, whichever determined by negotiations. Our board last night definitely is looking for something that's more long-term, so that there's more stability for families and students, and they know what the plan is for the next 10 years.
Thank you. Any more discussion? Yes.
So, what commitment are you gonna make for the school choice for that? I mean, right now we have 25%. Have we surveyed the community as to what their wishes are?
So we did not survey the community, but we gathered input, and the board would like to continue with the 25% school choice. We've never crossed that threshold. Currently, we're at 24.3, and we've never been above 25%. We have a process for if we are above 25%, but the feeling of the board is that we continue with that same 75%, 25%, because it's working for the community.
But we haven't asked them what their choices were? I mean, what their preference would be,
Whether or not there'd be a greater school choice or less school choice, we did not ask if they wanted to have more.
or what their choices were.
But we just know for the last 10 years, we've not been above the 25% threshold.
I wish that we could, and we certainly can do it in a town bill, we send out, or some sort of letter, but certainly surveying the community as to what they're, knowing that we've come to a threshold, what they wish.
This tonight is just to give them permission to negotiate. So let's not go too far beyond that. Let's just let them do their job of negotiating with area school districts, and maybe get in the weeds later on. This is just to give them permission. That's all this article is.
But that falls partly into that, if we're not, let's say we go to 35% or 30% or whatever that school choice is, that's part of the negotiation process.
I can't even have those conversations until we have authorization to negotiate. So I know what the board is hoping that we will be looking for, but I also don't know the school districts will negotiate what their terms are going to be.
What's the
So what
duration?
you're saying, when you go to negotiate, you could come back with a different percentage.
It could come back with a different percentage.
What's the timeframe that you think that this process is gonna take, ballpark?
Well, it also may depend on other school districts, and so I would love for it to be completed as we are coming into the budget season, but some of those things are out of my control, because it's going to depend on how quickly other boards are also able to approve agreements. I have meetings set up beginning early next week to begin to have conversations pending decisions to make.
Any more discussion?
Very easy question. How many students do we have? I've lost track.
We have 132 at the 6 through 12 level.
Thank you.
Do you know, what's the other breakdown? You said 132?
At the pre-K to 5 level, we have about 117.
You ready to vote?
I was just gonna add, we discussed last night about, thinking about sending out a survey, but we felt like last week we offered an informational session and a very limited number of people came. So we felt like we provided that opportunity, and we didn't get any input, besides your input.
Well, and it's just something that as we, we can include that, when we've got the tax bills, something that go out, that, it's a great way to garner the input of our community, who are the shareholders of this town, and have funded everything that we do. So I just wanna make sure that everyone has a chance, yes, they can come to a meeting, but some people can't for work schedules, for whatever reason, but certainly we still wanna hear from them.
We've also had a lot of conversation from board members who have had input from their neighbors and the community that they represent. And so I think that we've had a lot of conversation about what the will of the people is in terms of the communications they have. We were talking about a survey, as Joanne said, and really it became challenging to think about how you even ask that question of what you want. What we know is we have 10 years of data of what people have asked for. We also know that we have 132 students who are currently in a placement who are looking for stability. And so that also is data that's important for me to be thinking about as we go into negotiations. I don't want to necessarily uproot all these students because we decide to do something different. But by all means, we haven't negotiated, so I don't know what that looks like yet.
I'm Robert Weir, who's a newly elected school board member, and I want to just echo what Joanne Powers just said, that last night we had a very thoughtful and long discussion among school board members, and we were asked by our principal superintendent, what did we want, did we think we should have in the goals in our negotiation with the nearby school district. And we had a lot of discussion around this 25% number. And in 10 years, we have never had requests for school choice that exceeded that 25% number. And if that would happen, there is a process of a lottery for any excess over that 25% for who might be allowed in that last slot or two. And we felt like, since we have 10 years of history of town reaction to this, it made sense to suggest to our principal and superintendent that as she begins negotiation discussions, assuming we're approved, ultimately the board decides what the contract will look like that we will approve if tonight we're authorized to do that. And it just seemed like 10 years of history was a pretty strong message on what would work, and we are advocating to continue as it has been.
Yes.
I'm assuming that the question is one of the worst kept secrets in the school body. Those parents with children, is that assumption quite correct?
Would you say that again? I'm sorry.
I'm assuming that every parent with children in the school, or half the children coming into the school, are quite aware of this question and have had ample opportunity to express themselves.
It is something that we talk about regularly, and we've been talking about for several years as the 10-year agreement is coming to an end of what is going to happen next. It actually gives people a lot of stress because of the idea of having to change and needing to make a change.